Quitting 6 things since I turned 60 has helped give me more control over my time and emotional energy, meaning I've been able to focus more on things that count. Hi, I'm Baz. Thanks for tuning in to The Apprentice Retiree, a channel I set up to track my progress as I transition into retirement. Number 1, I stopped wasting time on dating sites. I was married for 23 years to a really special woman who sadly passed away in her early 40s. During my 50s, I spent so much time on dating sites looking for that special connection, looking for the perfect match. But it wasn't until my late 50s that I come to the realization that there is no perfect match, and I'd probably let some really good woman slip through my fingers. Once I come to this realization, I ended up meeting a woman quite organically through a meetup group. Now, we hit it off really well, and we were good friends for a year before we started dating. We were in a relationship for 2 or 3 years, and then she returned to New Zealand to live, and I stayed here in Australia. But we're still good friends 8 years down the track. Secondly, I stopped making New Year resolutions. For years and years, I've made all these resolutions, and often they'd go really well for the first month or maybe 6 weeks, and then I'd falter once or twice, and then I'd lose my motivation and I'd give up on them. What I do now, and what I find works better, is I make short-term goals over 2 or 3 months. And once I've developed habits, these short-term goals, then turn into longer-term goals. Number 3, I quit dismissing walking as a viable exercise. What I mean by that is I was back in my 20s and 30s. I ran several marathons and a lot of half marathons, and I really enjoyed my running. Around that time, my wife enjoyed her walking, but I could never see how she could get anything from her walking. I just couldn't understand why she would want to spend an hour walking when, she could have been out running, and she could have, well, I certainly felt really good after an hour-long run. But it wasn't until I turned 60 when I experienced heart failure after a couple of my runs, and I had to give running up. So I took up walking. And once I did this, I really started to enjoy it. Currently, I'm getting out most mornings, 4 or 5 a week anyway, for 45 minutes. I like to inject a little bit of jogging into my walking, as I understand intermittent walking is even better for the heart. I also find that walking is a lot gentler on the knees and hips, and probably the body in general. So it's a win-win. Number 4, I stopped dwelling on bad choices that I made. I've made some really bad choices, especially financial choices, in my late 50s and very early 60s. And for a long time, I really kind of put a lot of bad energy really into these decisions. And but I come to realize that I couldn't turn them around, and that I now have to make the most of where I'm at. I'm not at the worst place in the world. And so, yeah, coming to realise that I couldn't turn them around has made a big impact on how I feel about them. Number 5, and this is one I still struggle with a bit, and that's feeling bad about paying someone else to do jobs which I could do. You know, for years I used to always do the painting around the house. My dad often helped. He was really good with a paintbrush. But these days, because of my heart and because of my age, it takes me a lot longer to get some of these jobs done. I really have to pace myself. And so that often results in me not getting the job done. For instance, this house that I'm currently in, I started painting it probably 4 years ago, and I got a good part of the living area painted, and then I stopped and I haven't completed it. I really just need to let go and pay somebody to do this work. Now, the 6th thing, and I've added this because I have got so much out of this last thing that I quit, and that is letting fear dictate decisions that I make. I'll give you an example of how this has worked for me. In my teens and 20s, I enjoyed riding motorbikes. Then, of course, as my wife and I had kids and that, and I let the motorbikes go. Now, when I was in my 50s, I had the opportunity of buying this really nice older motorbike. It was a 1969 Triumph Daytona, and it was being sold at a good price. But I didn't have the confidence to take it for a test ride, and so I didn't buy it. It wasn't until 2 years ago, when I was 65, that I bought another bike. And since buying that bike, I have got so much enjoyment out of motorcycling once again. I wish I'd done it earlier, but I let fear dictate my decision to get back into it. So quitting these 5 or 6 things had really made a positive impact on my life. It's freed up a lot of emotional energy, a lot of spare time, and just bettered my life in so many ways. I hope this video helps you out. If you want to check out another video, I posted one up above, and it talks about 5 ways that you can improve your time in retirement. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy the video, please give us a like. Thank you.